Patrick and I are reacting to Luka versus old team the Mavericks and doing a quick outlook on the future of the 76ers. Let's get into foul trouble.
One future as bright as the sun, one as dim as a black hole. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, and I'm assuming you're not talking about the Phoenix. Wait, who's got the dim future? The Suns? Was that like a pun you were making there?
I spent I gotta be honest, I was half paying attention to the first quarter of this game because the Suns were in the process of choking away I think it was like a 145 to 150 loss to the Grizzlies where they were up by 10 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, when they recapped that game, they made sure like Durant attempts to tie the game to send it to double overtime, and he actually got his foot behind the line. And it's like, damn, KD's most iconic moment is truly when he stepped on the line.
Yeah, that's brutal work right there by ESPN. But we have something exciting, new beginnings, something beautiful to talk about, and that is revenge. Luka's first chance at revenge. Nico Harrison sitting in the front row in his Mavericks blue suit. Mark Cuban's there as well. James, what did you make of all the buildup and the pageantry to Luka Doncic facing the Dallas Mavericks? It still feels weird to say.
I feel like this was like the teaser game, but the real game won't be until he's back in Dallas.
Till he's back in Dallas, and you know what I really missed? I missed the Dallas Mavericks, the Dallas Mavericks big man room. I felt like it's not real until we see like these two teams go at each other at full strength.
I guess, though, I will say, because I was thinking about that, and I feel like it doesn't really matter who's on the Mavericks, though, who's playing for them, because I really do feel like this is more like Luka versus the organization than it is Luka versus the players on the court.
What about AD?
No, I mean, I would have loved to see AD do his revenge against the Lakers too, but just solely from the Luka lens. It's not like we have a Luka AD beef in any way. You know what I mean?
That's true. We may have a AD Lakers beef, maybe. At least the NBA should sell that.
Yeah.
But relatively a pretty good game.
Yeah, it was a good game at first, and then I feel like the Mavericks like tied it up. Klay Thompson was doing his Game 6 Klay impression, and all of a sudden the Lakers were like, "Wait a second, guys! Like, what if we just shot the ball near the basket? They don't have any rim protectors." And they were like, "Yeah, like, we'll just have Rui and LeBron nosedive into the paint and just catch perfect passes from Luka and Austin Reeves, and they're gonna finish every one of them."
Is that Dwight Powell down there? What the fuck have we been doing this whole game?
Yeah, no, that was a weird ending. I don't know if you saw this because it was on some Laker like kind of threads, but on that play where Rui catches the ball like in the paint for what is essentially the dagger, if you actually replay it, you can hear JJ Redick screaming at Rui go over there, and Rui looks really confused at what he wants. So the Mavericks just let him waltz into the paint because they think Rui is unaware of what he's supposed to be doing. And then they just feather the ball to Rui and he dunks it.
I gotta be honest, I'm a fan of the like Rui at the 5 minutes for the Lakers.
He's been really good, like a lot of energy, a lot of impact. I feel like his shot's been a lot more reliable. I don't know if the numbers backed it up, just eye test wise, his shot feels a lot more reliable than from distance than this year than it did last year.
He's so damn strong too that it's just like, it makes sense. Okay, I had a couple thoughts in watching this game. One, Luka was really, really good in like the first quarter, and then he was pretty much like baseline Luka, I would say, for the rest of the game. That's fair.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I feel like the stretch where they started like really double teaming him on every one of those like pick and rolls like really threw him off, and I felt like his like processing speed was like way slower than normal at like, hey, who's my kick out option? Maybe it's just not used to what it looks like in this Lakers offense. I gotta say also, the first few times they ran like Luka isolated and then someone sets the screen and roll, I was like, whoa, this looks weird happening in a Lakers uniform, because I feel like they didn't run like traditional Luka sets like that the first few games. They very much ran like the JJ offense, and now that they're like incorporating these like Mavs Luka sets, I'm like, it looks weird. It doesn't look right.
Yeah, no, it does look a little bizarre, but I mean, like, you can just see how like it's not even fully formed yet. Like, I think when they start getting like Austin Reeves screening for Luka and LeBron's down in the dunker spot, like that's That's essentially how they won the game, was just the Lakers missing shots and LeBron being in the dunker spot, getting the rebound, and then either finishing or just dishing to wide open threes the entire game. And like, I can only imagine that is going to get just more and more dangerous as we go on. This is like, what, game 6?
Yeah. I feel like another weird thought I had is I was like, because going into halftime and the Mavs kind of went on that like 12-4 run to end the first half, I was like, damn, the Lakers look kind of messy on offense. And I was like, but at the same time, they're on pace to score 120 points this game. Like, they're almost like so talented now that they can just kind of like their rough patches don't last long because they're always interrupted by like an Austin Reeves, rogue and one, or a Luka bucket or a LeBron James drive. Like, they're very like resilient to scoring droughts now in a way they weren't before.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, Reeves, he just gets the shit kicked out of him every single time he goes to the hoop. He is so fun to watch. The other thing I was thinking is this, I feel like this Lakers construction could really be like the peak form of heliocentrism, because obviously like we've kind of danced around that idea with just Luka in general, but a lot of the times with those heliocentric teams that we've seen, even the really successful ones in the past, once the James Harden goes off the court, once the Luka goes off the court, the Nuggets aren't really as heliocentric as my other two options, but once like Nikola Jokic goes off the court, there's no way to approximate what they give you on the court. And now with this Lakers team, it's like you truly have the ability to have a full 48 minutes of just like genius level basketball decision making, as well as just like heliocentrism. And I don't know, that's just something that was washing over me while watching this Lakers team. They kind of remind me of like the Harden Chris Paul Rockets in a way.
Yeah. Well, I feel like though, like I feel like the moments where this team has looked its best in the short spurt with Luka is when they're actually not doing so much like Luka isolated high pick and roll stuff. It's like a little bit more of like Luka passing to LeBron on the run and LeBron finding the next pass. It's kind of like them getting hockey assists, where I feel like they've looked really dominant, especially like LeBron passing to Luka, Luka passing to the roll man, or vice versa, where I feel like to the dunker spot guys, where I feel like they've just looked kind of unstoppable.
For sure. I mean, transition is just like where this team is going to absolutely kill.
Yeah. Also, I feel like the weird sneaky thing for the Lakers is I feel like kind of, going into this season, it's like you would be like, well, Luka's at this stage of their careers, you'd much rather have Luka. I feel like LeBron has just looked so good now for like a month and a half. Like unbelievably really good. Where I'm like, I mean, if LeBron's going to play up to Luka's level from last year, like the ceiling is as high as it gets.
Yeah, well, the ceiling is as high as it gets from like a playoff equity standpoint. And honestly, the ceiling is as high as it gets from like a playoff seeding standpoint. After that win last night, the Lakers are now only, I'm pulling it up, I believe they're only 2 games back of the 2 seed. They have 2 teams that they would need to leapfrog, which definitely is not going to be easy. But, I mean, that's a crazy puncher's chance. I think even the greatest Lakers optimists, I mean, obviously they didn't see a Luka Doncic trade coming, but didn't think they would be in position for this.
No. Yeah, this is pretty good. They've already leapfrogged the Rockets from like 2 weeks ago. Nuggets might be hard to catch. Nuggets are on quite a heater. Grizzlies are 6-4 in their last 10, but I don't think their slump is going to prolong for the longest time either. So every team has a 6-4 stretch that ends up being a 2 seed or a 10 or a 1 seed. So I wouldn't raise any alarm bells for the Grizzlies, but yeah, I mean the Lakers are in a great spot. I feel like if they feel like they can avoid the Thunder, like sky's the limit.
Yeah. If you avoid the Thunder just have a weird, like, get knocked out in the second round, something like that, you could potentially see a whole Western Conference playoffs where you don't have to face them. But I want them to get to the 2 seed more just because that means that we will see them play one of the Timberwolves, Warriors, and Dallas Mavericks.
Oh my.
And any one of those matchups is just juicy as hell.
Do you think there's a chance, Patrick, that they do the 2021 Nuggets and they're like, well, how do we get that Clippers matchup? What do we need to do to get that Clippers matchup?
Honestly, no, because I think there's just not enough time in the season when they're incorporating such a major piece. I don't think they can play around with the playoff chicanery. I think they just need to, gel, get to know each other, and get into the playoffs on the highest, frequency possible.
Yeah, wow. A Warriors-Lakers again would be crazy because I feel like the difference in the Warriors-Lakers during this whole LeBron-Lakers era has been Anthony Davis, so I'm kind of curious what that matchup will now look like with it completely flipped on its head.
Yeah, talk about, small balls back, baby.
Yeah, no, that would be quite the series. Any other thoughts from that game? I think what's surprising, I didn't realize this, is Jackson Hayes actually statistically has been a pretty strong rim defender. He's been a lot stronger as being Jackson Hayes than I thought was going to be possible for him. I'm still worried about the Lakers just not having Alex Len obviously didn't even play last night. He's just not really viable to get PT in a lot of these matchups. Teams like the Warriors are going to run him off the floor. Teams like the Timberwolves are probably going to be able to beat up Alex Len on the boards with guys like Gobert. So I don't really see where the Alex Len minutes come from, barring a Jackson Hayes injury.
Yeah, I mean, a huge part of that Lakers victory last night is they were pretty dominant on the boards against the Mavericks, and obviously that's not going to be a thing against the Mavericks, but that in general, let's be real, that's not going to be a thing against most of these playoff teams, especially when it's nut crunching time. So I think that's a minor worry right now that I feel like you just can't get too caught up in the weeds. But the big worry that I think reared its head for the Lakers last night was the Kyrie Irving of it all. They just had nothing to throw at Kyrie. He was the whole reason why really that should not have been a competitive game. I don't think.
Yeah, Kyrie was absolutely incredible in that game.
And it's just something that we've got to watch going forward because we really haven't. I mean, they did play the Nuggets last weekend and won, but we really haven't seen them go up against the crazy guards of the league yet. And I think that is the number one worry there. It's who's gonna be the point of attack defender on the Anthony Edwards of the world that they're playing him next. We just talked about a potential Golden State matchup. Steph, Ja, Shea, they're all over the place in the West. So that's definitely a minor worry.
Yeah, I do think the piece they're gonna use is Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt, man, he's a good defender. He's a great rebounder, good energy guy. It's kind of crazy. It doesn't look like he's even playing off an injury, but he was big in their Golden State series when they played 2 years ago, kind of hounding around the Golden State guards and stuff like that. So I'm curious if that's going to be the same tale here or if he's going to get the Jimmy Butler assignment. But they do have a nice ability to guard wings now that they didn't have to start the year, but they just don't really have that way to guard guards. I think Gabe Vincent is supposed to be that guy, but then you have to play Gabe Vincent on offense, which when you have
but then you have to play Gabe Vincent.
Yeah, which Gabe Vincent's been playing a lot better. He's been hitting his threes, which all they really need from him is to hit his threes. It's just the problem is just it is hard to find Gabe Vincent minutes when Austin Reeves and Luka are going to be playing 40 minutes a game in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And it's the kind of thing where it's no matter what happens, these guys are going to go off. And it's just are they scoring 50 or are they scoring, 35?
Yeah. And I think that's where the Lakers are okay, we're going to bleed some on defense on the perimeter, but also Luka's going to have a 5-inch height advantage on every point guard that is like that. A Kyrie Irving on the flip side can't really guard Luka. The Mavericks constantly had to send doubles or triples at Luka, which we got that semi-pro possession where they were passing the ball back and forth in the post. Obviously the Lakers end up with an open three. And that's the weird thing, the weird bind the Lakers are putting other teams in is are you really going to double off LeBron James like that?
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
was the whole thing at the end of the game. I felt like they just kept losing LeBron.
Yeah, it was that was the weird thing about that game. It was like, okay, I get it. You're going to double team Luka, but you realize LeBron's the one who's like really killing you in this game, right? It's not Luka.
Yeah, I think that was a business decision by Jason Kidd.
Yeah, he just didn't want to get embarrassed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the Lakers yesterday. It will be, they've got, I don't know, what game are you most excited for coming up? They've got Timberwolves, Clippers, Nuggets again, Suns, Spurs, Nuggets, Bucks.
I'm actually excited for the Timberwolves game because I know the Timberwolves have their assortment of spacing issues that plague them, but I do kind of want to see what the Lakers look like going against a team with good rim protection and better rebounding capabilities, just to see, like, is this going to be the big Achilles heel?
Yeah, no, that would definitely be the one that I would choose, and luckily we don't have to wait long. It is on Thursday.
But I do think because I feel like a lot of the times when me and you have been talking about the Lakers and we haven't always seen eye to eye, the one thing I always liked about them against a lot of these other Western teams, I was like, they are so big, they can beat up other teams on the board. And I feel like they're still really big on the perimeter, but obviously they don't have the bigs. So I think they're a little bit more resilient to that argument. Like, let's see how much rebounding work LeBron and Luka and maybe Vanderbilt can put in. But I do think this is a big test because, like, if Rudy Gay ends the game with not Rudy Gobert ends the game with like 5 offensive rebounds, and Ant's got 2, and Randall's got 2, and the Timberwolves have like 12 more field goal attempts by the end of the game. Like that, I don't think that bodes well for the Lakers.
No, I mean, I think I would be willing to bet at this point if there is one like traditional team box score number that indicates if the Lakers win or lose a game, it's going to be rebounding because. I mean, like, and Luka is a great rebounder for his position. It's just, I don't know. You can't always do that. And I think scheming away guard rebounds is a lot easier than scheming away big rebounds.
Yeah. So we'll see on that. I mean, the Timberwolves have their own mess, but I'm just curious what it's going to look like down low. I thought you were just asking me in general, and I was like, oh, Giannis Jokic on the same day looks kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I mean that one sounds good too.
You're not hyped for Nuggets Pistons? Thunder Hawks? Cavs Celtics on Friday?
I am hyped for Nuggets Pistons. The Pistons who are going to skip the play-in on the other side of the play-in, the winning side of the play-in.
Yeah. All right, should we get to Sixers real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Sixers are now, 12th in the Cavaliers' own conference of the East. Cavs look so good.
I know.
We got to talk more Cavs, man. They look so good.
Maybe, yeah. Next week or the week after, we'll do like a very long Cavs deep dive.
Deep dive. But yeah, so the Sixers are a mess. I think people know I've kind of been like the internet's Joel Embiid homer, and the guy can't really walk.
No, he's crawling back into the MRI machine right now, trying to figure out if his knees are repairable. They have now fallen behind the Nets for the 11th seed. They're currently in the 12 seed in the East, 2.5 games behind the Chicago Bulls, who are just dying to fall out of this play-in, but cannot get out of their own way. Right now in the reverse standings, as of yesterday, they are 6th in the reverse standings. The important element of that is they have a top 6 protected pick that if they do not keep it, conveys to the Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot of ways to look at this. Where do you want to start?
The thing with the Sixers is it all hinges on what the hell happens with the Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I guess. And it seems like that is not a question that you can answer in season.
So I guess there's like 4 different ways Embiid goes. There's the Embiid medically retires after next season.
God,
right? I mean that is a possibility, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a possibility.
like for those who aren't really keeping up, like basically Embiid is like he's played like in Embiid he's had a weird season. Like he misses like 18 games, he'll play like 4 in a row, he'll miss 12 in a row, he'll come back and play 3. Doctors are like he might need microfracture surgery. Some doctors are like he's just gonna have to play through pain the rest of his career. I think, Patrick, if I were to do like what is the absolute best case scenario for the Sixers? Do you want to go best case? Where do you want to go? Because I think I have a plan that, like,
I am
maybe could
actually
work out.
very interested in that. What do you view as the best case scenario right now? Next, how many months do you want to do? Next 6 months?
No, here's my 1 year. Like everything's going really good for the Sixers.
Okay, what happens?
Sixers win a top 3 pick in this lottery.
Okay.
They get one of the better draft picks, maybe a Cooper Flag, maybe they get a Bailey, maybe a Harper. Harper Maxey overlap would be a little weird. Bailey will not be ready to be a winning player on a year 1 or year 2 team right away. Flag for sure right away would transform the team. Mm-hmm. I think the best case for the Sixers is Embiid loses a lot of weight, takes a lot of weight off the knees, and accepts that he's not the number 1 option anymore. Just because for his own health, I don't think he can be a number 1 option. Not because of his skill set or capability, just solely because of his health. I don't think him playing battering ram, 34 points per game guy is the way he's going to be able to prolong his career. And I think the way the Sixers, the best possible outlook for the Sixers is like the Embiid Monswam contract overlaps with this new prodigy on their rookie deal. And then once that rookie deal ends, that guy can start getting paid properly, and Embiid's can either retire or start getting paid properly. And then you just got to hope Paul George, I don't know. I think Paul George is possibly a bigger lost cause than Embiid at this point.
So you're saying the only way forward, or the way forward, is for the 76ers to win the lottery.
Yeah.
I've heard this story before. I've lived this life. Yeah, I mean, no. Essentially, what you're saying is the 76ers should completely pull the plug and just tank as hard as they possibly can, try to not win another game for the rest of the year so that they can get into this offseason with their pick, with, Jared McCain, he can get better, possibly Joel Embiid, and possibly Paul George can reverse like Space Jam himself and regain his powers again.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but like, go watch rookie Joel Embiid highlights and MVP Joel Embiid highlights. The young version of himself is like spry, athletic. He's like fast, and I think like granted, a lot of Embiid's weight gain since then is muscle mass and not fat. I think it's mostly muscle mass.
That's that man strength right there.
It's man strength, but I don't know if he needs it if he's not going to be the number 1 guy on this team, which I really don't think he should be going forward, because I just don't think he can survive playing at that weight.
Yeah, I mean, but like, can he survive playing at any weight?
Anyway, well, I mean, I'd rather have him out there as like a rim protecting role guy with some post up chops than he can't play at all because he's too heavy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, under the assumption he doesn't medically retire, you would want him to contribute in some way.
Let me tell you, James, this guy's not gonna medically retire. Okay, he is under contract until 28, 29. He's got a player option. I'll do the Russillo thing. He's probably gonna pick that up. He's making $55 million next year, $59 the year after that. 64 and then $69 million. He's not going anywhere. And then you look at Paul George. Paul George is making 51 next year, 54 the year after that, and 56. The crazy part about all of this is somehow Daryl Morey constructed this team, and obviously not the perfect construction. I think it maybe would have worked if the guys were healthy. They obviously are not. But with this construction, the crazy part when I started looking into it is they're below the first apron. So they don't have to worry about any of the shit that, like, for instance, the other disaster project in the NBA, the Suns have to worry about with, aggregating contracts. They don't have no trade clause. They've got all these guys, they can trade them. My question to you is, this offseason, let's say that they don't keep their pick. Because, it's going to be pretty hard for them to keep their pick. In the reverse standings, they're 3.5 games in front of Toronto, and they're essentially tied with Brooklyn right now. So I don't think they're going to be able to reverse catch up to Toronto. Maybe they could, but probably not. There's not that many games left in the season. And then Brooklyn, it's a coin toss. And then, we see these flattened lottery odds. Teams are always jumping. At least one team is jumping in the lottery. Maybe that's the Sixers, but maybe that's literally any of the other teams behind them. I assume that your first instinct, it's like, how do we get off Paul George? Yes?
Yeah, I mean, to me, Paul George is even somehow, despite Embiid potentially not being able to walk, I'm more worried about Paul George.
What are you willing to attach to get off a Paul George?
I don't know. I mean, the Sixers.
Would you attach one first-round pick?
Yeah. I'd
Would you attach
first to get off that Paul? If Embiid looks like he can contribute and be good, I would spend a first to get off Paul George.
Would you attach two?
Maybe one in a heavily protected one.
Would you attach no first-round picks and a Jared McCain?
No. You have to keep McCain. They need cost-controlled good players with Maxey and Embiid's contracts.
If there's no guarantee that Joel can ever come back and play more than 45 games in a season, would you attach assets to get off of Paul George?
I might just tank it out. I might go process again, honestly. Maxey can be our Drew Holiday for the 2020 version of the process.
There we go.
And then McCain is going to be your one high contract guy when you're ready to start signing guys again. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really grim for the Sixers to hear process again, but genuinely they're kind of set up in a way where if Embiid can't play really and Paul George is going to suck this bad, like Maxey is going to literally have to be the 2010 Drew Holiday, and the team is literally going to have to go process mode again. They're not going to have a choice.
That was another question I wrote down, and maybe this is the best place to end this conversation, but is the process done? When did it finish, or is it still going?
I think the process, to me, officially ended when they traded Harden, because that's like the end of the process assets paper trail.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. Part of me thinks that the process exists as long as Joel Embiid exists on the 76ers roster. But it is kind of because really, but I do get what you're saying. The process was accumulating as many picks as possible, making them as good of picks as possible, and then turning them into assets. Truly, I got to go through this, but truly, I think the only assets that remain is Joel Embiid, right?
Yeah, it's only Joel Embiid because Maxey's I would say a post-process pickup.
I'm pretty sure it was just their own second-round pick that they drafted him with.
Side note: it's so funny that Ben Simmons is now James Harden's teammate. But Patrick, I'm going to give you a stat. So without Joel Embiid, the Sixers are 12-26. So they're pretty bad. They're pretty much a tankatronic team. Now with Joel Embiid, are the Sixers a good team? Not really. They're 8-11. But 8-11, for perspective, if you kind of normalize the amount of games played to the without, they're 18-26 instead of 12-26. So not having Embiid play the rest of the year actually does really help their tank chance. Because Embiid took them from second worst team in the NBA to eighth worst team in the NBA, which is a big difference when you have a top 6 protected pick.
I hear you, but they're trying to get underneath the Toronto Raptors, who are 18-40 right now.
But they're staying below the Bulls, who are really trying to get below them.
Yeah, that's true. But see, that's like the Nets, they're trying to get below them, kind of. I mean, none of their players would tell you that.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess, the Sixers 12th in the East, but the Sixers in the West would be 14th, or, they'd be 13th. They have a chance to get a top 6 pick. They're in the mix.
Hey, they're definitely in the mix. It's just like they are right on the borderline. Like, honestly, this the draft lottery, if they will most likely stay right around where they are, is must-watch television.
Yeah, no, the draft lottery. Also, the Spurs might fall down quite a bit now without Wemby. I mean, there's a chance that flag ends up on there is a world where the Sixers, it's a very unlikely world where Paul George probably still, I'm not going to envision any world where Paul George is like a good player anymore.
Yeah, I
can't envision a world where Embiid is a good player again.
See, I'm struggling with that. That's not what I want, but it's just like, tell me one time where we've seen a player like this that bounces back.
That's true. At his size, I don't know if we have.
I can't think of one historical reference. I guess maybe Bill Walton coming back and being sixth man of the year.
I don't mean bounce back as in he's going to average 34 points a game again. This year he's averaging 23. Bounce back to me is he averages 23 and he stays on the floor for 60 games.
No, I realize that.
That's what you can't picture.
I just don't see him being healthy, It's
I see that.
Guys like this at that size, when they can't stay on the floor and they're getting just older and older and older, it doesn't usually stick. I don't know.
Slim down. He's got to meet with whoever Zion met with a couple months ago and get. He's got too much weight on those knees. I'm not.
Yeah,
but
isn't he 6 years younger than Zion or something? Or older?
Older. He's a time traveler. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I was having a thought though the other day. I was thinking about obviously the Luka trade. Let's not think about that. But I feel like a lot of times there's trades in the NBA where we're oh man, that team really lost that trade, and then it kind of comes around, and you're history era. I feel like
Rudy Gobert trade.
Yeah, nothing ever goes the way you predict it, right? I was thinking the other day, the GM survey from 5 years ago. I think Giannis won the player you'd most want to have by quite a landslide, and then immediately afterward, it's Jokic, and I just thought about that when I saw the Jokic Giannis header for that game, and I was I feel like the NBA never goes the way we think it will. So, what's the Embiid is hurt, Paul George sucks, but the Sixers are the 6th seed next year. Is it?
That's just
awesome.
McCain and Maxey are lit,
and they get a decent rim protector with their MLE. Is that? I guess that's a really hard world to envision. Cooper Flag, they really luck out at Cooper Flag. He offers some defensive chops and playmaking chops, and they kind of go, or
yeah, that's probably it. They just have the rookie of the year next year, and Jared McCain is looking like he should have been the rookie of the year this year, and they're just fun and frisky, and a play-in team. Maybe they make it to the 6th seed, but and Paul George is just he turns into Memphis Vince Carter and is just he's always in the right spot whenever you need him, and all the pressure is off of him because everyone's given up on him. But I don't know, he's in Philly.
Yeah, I think the Sixers might have. They are the Eastern Conference Suns in terms of outlook for me.
1,000,000%.
Really bad.
Except not quite as bad for the Sixers, I will say.
Is that because they've got good young guys?
Yeah, they've got good young guys, and
how old is Book?
He's only 28.
Oh,
but yeah, it's getting up there, and he's been playing since he came into the league at literally 17. I have odds for Joel Embiid's next team if he's not on the Sixers next season. Do you want to guess what 3 teams are at the top of this list? I would not have guessed these 3 teams, let me tell you.
Oh, hold on real quick. Before you give us odds, I want to apologize if you guys can hear that snoring. That is my dog. I just noticed my mic has been picking it up.
I wasn't gonna say anything. It was
the
soothing
viewers
me.
need to know.
Okay, Joel Embiid, if he's not a Sixer next year, according to this betting website, will be on one of these three teams. Can you tell me what the teams are?
The Suns.
They're fourth, but that was no.
Who would trade for Joel Embiid?
I've got 2 Eastern Conference teams and 1 Western Conference team.
Miami?
Miami is not on the list. You know, that's a classic one.
The Wizards?
The Wizards are not on the
Who
list.
is trading for Joel Embiid? Who is the team?
Number 3, they had the Houston Rockets listed as the most likely at plus 1,800. Number 2, they had the Atlanta Hawks also at plus 1,800. I don't really see it. And number 1, I guess it's just because of their GM, who is friends with Joel Embiid, the Toronto Raptors at plus 1,500. Why they would do that? What? I guess they're trading just a poo-poo platter of RJ Barrett. I wouldn't trade RJ Barrett like for that right now.
Patrick, have you considered the Toronto Raptors suck? Like top, like organizationally down to the players on the court. They're a very bad decision-making team, like consistently. I actually could see it from that lens.
Yeah, from that lens, if we're betting on them doing something stupid, yeah, maybe. I don't know. See, yeah.
The Raptors are bad. Like I don't think the Raptors get enough credit for being Wizards North. As they
Whoa!
should.
I watched them bury the Suns this weekend.
Well, you guys are Wizards West.
We
No, I'm
are
kidding.
Wizards
You guys
West.
are not Wizards West. You guys are certainly not Wizards West.
We're
but
Sixers
they are
West.
Wizards North. You guys kind of are Sixers West, although Sixers West is 27-31. Sixers East is 20-37.
Hey, it's pretty similar. All right, let's do best take, worst take, and then I might have to get out of here.
Yeah, you gotta get out of here. Okay. Oh man, I'm gonna say my best take goes to Channing Frye, who again
I saw this.
always fighting this fight. He says nostalgia is killing the NBA. The '90s basketball era with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant was not as clean as you think.
Not only is nostalgia killing the NBA, but it honestly is killing America. That's all I gotta say on that one. My best take of the week is going to Diana Taurasi. Did you see the clip out of her Time article where she announced her retirement yesterday?
No.
So, GOAT, Diana Taurasi, hanging it up after God knows how many years. And she announced it in a Time Magazine article. And in the Time Magazine article, it references the 2016 Rio Olympics, where I guess the women's and men's teams both decided to go on a cruise together or something. And they were all drinking and all having fun. And the article recounts that when they were drinking, they were like playing cards and stuff, and they were getting super, super competitive. And Taurasi apparently said to Draymond, "Hey, Draymond, how does it feel to be the only person in this room who's never been double teamed?" And it's just the best line ever. And I wanted to just say, hey, Taurasi, you're the GOAT. Love you. The Valley will miss you, but I'm sure you'll be in the Valley for the rest of your life.
That's funny. I have one that I feel like should mention because it's just one of the. I have a similar. It's like such a cold line from an old basketball player legend that I think you'll appreciate. Not really a take though, but T-Mac was at the Rutgers USC game, and after the game, someone asked T-Mac, "What were you doing when he was 24?" And T-Mac said, "Averaging 30," and then walked away.
I saw that.
that was awesome.
Yeah, no, that is pretty cold. James, I had a little trouble finding worst takes of the week this week. What did you have anything that you loved?
I'm having a hard time finding a worst take. I mean, I just feel like it's kind of we can't keep dunking on Nico Harrison and these quotes coming out of Mavs land, but was it this week was the week that they revealed they weren't going to give him the Supermax if it made it to this summer?
I don't know if it was this week or
wait, but let's dive into what that means. So are you going to just let him walk in free agency?
I feel like
imagine if Luka hit free agency with how few teams have prepared their cap sheets for that event.
Yeah, I mean,
what kind of trades would we have seen, Patrick? Like, we would have seen like 3 teams make crazy attaching first to big contracts to try to make a run at Luka to offer him the most they could. It would have been crazier than this Luka trade.
Yeah, it would have been crazier because like every team. Or that probably, and why it had to happen at the trade deadline this year, is that all that news was going to come out, and teams would have been starting to make absolutely insane cap posturing trades, like you were saying. I hate that we missed that.
Appreciate. Yeah, it does suck that we missed that. But we've got these Luka LeBron playing together, which it still looks weird, but it's been so much fun to watch
it has
and
been.
talk about.
It has been so much fun, and even I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
You'll love this. Kevin Durant after Phoenix's 4th straight loss. Quote, "There's beauty in the struggle."
That's it. That's the worst take of the week. Oh my God. No, there's not, KD. I guess, if you're looking very minutely, but God, is it ugly.
How has the KD experience been, having KD a member of your team?
I don't know. I need distance from it. I'm ready to. I still. It's been okay.
I have a take that I've been floating out this week.
What's your take?
People keep talking about KD, LeBron, and Steph as like the 3 OG old guards of the NBA. I asked what Kevin Durant has done to deserve to be mentioned with LeBron and Steph Curry.
Truly, I
want to know. I want to know what this man has done.
He won an MVP. He went to 3 finals.
He won an MVP, and he played sidekick for every championship he was a part of.
He went to a finals as the best player.
No, he was never the best player on the Warriors.
He went to a finals as the best player on the Thunder, Thunder, and won finals MVP 2 times.
I mean, when your point guard
outplayed LeBron James in the finals.
LeBron James if you switch their roles, the gap would be insane. No, I don't think Durant should be mentioned with these guys. Look at what I mean. Guess Curry's not all that this season. It's kind of just LeBron now, but I don't know.
I mean, I think it's insane to say that he doesn't belong as the old guard of the current NBA. Like, come on, man.
But LeBron and Curry are the driving engines of the 4 championships they won. Durant was the sidekick to Curry on 2 of those teams.
No one's okay. I mean, I think you're really simplifying things here.
LeBron and Steph are like they are.
No one's saying that
players.
KD's a better player than LeBron or Steph. I'm with you on that. LeBron and Steph will always, but it's like, are you saying KD's not a top 15 player all time?
Is he?
Yeah, I would say so.
But I feel like he's not.
I don't know. You look at his lifetime stats. You look at his scoring ability. You look at his winning. He won and won and won and won everywhere he went when he was healthy, for the most part, other than Phoenix, I guess.
I feel like, though, if you factor in that Jokic, you would have ahead of him. You factor in Giannis, you'd have ahead of him. Obviously, LeBron and Steph, you'd have ahead of him.
Maybe
that's
it's
already
more...
4 active guys that I'd have higher than him all time.
I mean, I definitely have LeBron and Steph already baked in there. But, maybe 20. Maybe he's around 20th best all time in the NBA. Come on, dude.
20th is different than top 10. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's a league that's been around for 80 years. And he's active right now.
But what I'm saying is, you wouldn't take whoever the 20th best player of all time was back in 85 and be like, he's up there with Magic and Bird.
But that was fucking 50 years ago.
I don't know. That's all I'm saying, man.
My worst take
goes to me.
Goes to you. Yeah, it does go to you. No, I was just gonna. My worst take goes to NBC, who reported yesterday that they're going to keep the mini All-Star tournament and just make it 2 teams of U.S.-born All-Stars, a team of international All-Stars, and a team of All-Star snubs. That's exactly the same fucking thing we did this year, and it did not work. You think we're just going to slap a peacock on this channel and play round ball rock and it's all going to be different? No, NBC. Do a normal fucking game.
Patrick, I know you need to run, but I have another take that I want your green light or red light for.
Okay.
Okay, so I feel like we can all agree the NBA has a real problem with the people who talk about the NBA, like hate the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But can I say this has nothing to do with the style of play, the players, the on-court product. Can I go like old man hater mode on the NBA? Like, why does every team have a circle logo now?
Oh,
I feel like the NBA needs to bring its character back. It's too corporate. Not talking about the basketball. I'm talking solely about the branding. We need to fix the NBA's branding right now. It's getting bad.
Round logos and red, white, and blue logos. Get the red, white, and blue out of my logos. Not everything has to be a goddamn American flag.
Yeah, way too many teams have just the same color scheme.
Yeah, no. It's like the second you branch out and it's something that doesn't look like cartoony or just like AI generated, like the Utah Jazz's uniforms a couple of years ago. Like the second you branch out, everyone's like, "Yay, this is awesome!" Like,
yeah, I feel like
what
a lot
more
of
do you
teams'
need?
first 2 years of the city jerseys were so good, and they were like, "We should low key go to this full time."
Yeah, and it's because you're like honoring your local like
community
and culture,
which is like the hallmark of great sports branding.
It's crazy. So that KD quote is gonna win worst take of the week. I'll just tell
the one from him or the one from me.
No, I'll give you a pass. It's early.
Let's go.
All right. Well, that's all I got today.
Yeah,
James.
same. This is a fun episode. We need to. We'll do a Cavs. We'll do Suns. We definitely need to do the big Suns breakdown one time before the season ends.
Yeah. Hey, we got time. We're working towards playoffs, but we're not quite there yet. We got a lot of fun, a lot of playoff jockeying, and we'll be here every week.
Peace.